AEW star and former Punk rival Jon Moxley has opened up and discussed CM Punk's WWE return promo on Monday Night Raw this past week. Details on that, plus WWE is looking to sign talent to long-term deals moving forward. Cody Rhodes comments on QT Marshall's AEW resignation and departure. We got the ratings for last Friday's edition of SmackDown on FS1 heading into Survivor Series. Wesley is the new number one contender for the NXT North American Championship, defeating several main roster stars, and also a main roster star attacked his rival last night on NXT. Two more participants have been revealed for the Iron Survivor Challenge match at NXT Deadline. The NXT Tag Team Titles are successfully defended on the show. An update on Ronda Rousey's pro wrestling future. Gase returns with a strange new gimmick. Andre Chase reveals he is indeed under investigation. We'll let you know what he's under investigation for. And Nikita Lyons returns on NXT. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Jon Moxley discussing CM Punk and his return to WWE, as well as his return promo. Of course, Moxley, a former WWE superstar in his own right, but also a famous Punk rival in All Elite Wrestling. A former three-time AEW World Champion Jon Moxley has addressed former two-time AEW World Champion CM Punk's WWE return promo. During his time in AEW, CM Punk and Jon Moxley had a memorable rivalry back in 2022 when Moxley won the interim AEW World Championship while Punk was out with an injury after capturing the title. The two men faced each other twice on the August 24 edition of AEW Dynamite and also in the main event of AEW All Out 2022. Punk won the second match, but he was suspended following a backstage altercation with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks after the event. Punk returned to AEW in June of this year for the premiere of AEW Collision on TNT, but the promotion terminated his contract with Cause following a backstage altercation with Jack Perry. The two-time AEW World Champion made his return to WWE at Survivor Series War Games after the men's War Games match after an absence of nearly 10 years. And he also returned this past Monday on Raw on the November 27 episode and cut a promo in which he stated that he was home and he had changed. Now, in a new interview with Liam Crowley of comicbook.com, Jon Moxley was asked about CM Punk's I'm Home promo on Raw, and he had the following to say about it. He said, quote, "You don't want to know what I think. I didn't see it. You do not want to know what I think," and then laughed. Now, he then addressed his reputation as the guy that AEW can count on when he said the following. He said, quote, "I feel like I thrive in those situations. Scramble to the effing Jets and get Moxley out there. Oh, we don't have a main event. You've got to make people care about this and make this a main event in a week. I just pull main events out of my ass when I'm in those situations. I feel more comfortable when I'm the guy with the ball in the fourth quarter. It's hard to not want to grab the ball and take the shot myself." Now, earlier this year, CM Punk previously claimed that Jon Moxley did not want to lose to him during their feud last year. Moxley then shared his side of the story, in which he suggested that CM Punk and there was all this drama and BS going on backstage. Of course, Moxley will face Jay Lethal in the Gold League of the AEW Continental Classic Tournament tonight on AEW Dynamite on TBS. What are your thoughts on what Moxley has had to say about CM Punk, or rather what he didn't say? Do you think that it's just a time for AEW, CM Punk, Jon Moxley to put all of this drama in the past? Of course, it was rumoured that CM Punk had taken a shot at the Young Bucks doing a victory lap at the end of Raw. However, this was widely denied and disputed by those close to Punk via multiple different sources, Fightful and House of Wrestling reporting that CM Punk had not done this as he wants to move past the drama of AEW. What are your thoughts on all of this situation, and what are your thoughts on Punk's promo as well? Let me know your thoughts on all of it in the comments section below. Now, it's a big year coming up, particularly when it comes to contracts, not just television rights and media rights negotiations, but also talent contracts. 2024 is going to be a fascinating year. And WWE and AEW continue to engage in year-long market battle that some, such as Dave Meltzer, would call a wrestling war. Now, part of winning any conflict is holding on to critical assets. On Sunday's Wrestling Observer radio show, Meltzer reported that WWE is hoping to do just that by locking up several of its stars with multi-year extensions. He said the company has approached several unnamed stars, including some with one over a year left on their existing deals, and that numerous talent on the roster may receive significant pay rises. Meltzer noted that the feeling was that no one would get big contracts following WWE's merger with UFC to form TKO under the parent company Endeavor, which acquired control of UFC in 2021 and is dealing with pay disputes as part of an ongoing $1.6 billion antitrust case against its MMA promotion. In WWE's case, it appears the company is ready to pay up to ensure its top stars stick around for several more years and risk any talent defecting to AEW or elsewhere. Without stating a figure, Meltzer reports that WWE talent currently earn much less of a revenue share compared to UFC stars, who reportedly earn 17%. If paid at the same rate, mid-level WWE talent would reportedly earn roughly $2.5 million annually. Now, one of the top WWE names in the discussion has to be Drew McIntyre, whose deal is slated to end around April 2024. Reports of McIntyre storming out at Survivor Series may further complicate the matter. However, it's been since stated and reported that McIntyre was in good spirits at Raw, and apparently he's overcome whatever issue he may have had on Saturday. So what are your thoughts when it comes to contracts in WWE? Do they have the right to be a little bit concerned when it comes to the pay disputes that Endeavor has with the UFC fighters, or because they're two separate entities, is there not that much room to worry about? And because of the business that WWE is doing right now, are they going to hand out decent contracts and manage to retain a lot of the people that are currently having their deals set to expire? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Now, a big story this week is the departure from AEW from QT Marshall, and actually I say departure, rather the resignation of QT from his role as a vice president within the organization. Now, a former executive vice president of AEW, that being Cody Rhodes, has commented on QT Marshall's departure from AEW, which he announced on social media on Monday. Marshall announced on Twitter that he had resigned from AEW, with him set to be finished up all of his duties at the end of the year and 2024 becoming a free agent. Marshall's departure reportedly came due to him believing that AEW was heading into a different direction, more akin to New Japan Pro Wrestling, with a lot less of a focus on stories. Marshall's power in AEW was also said to have deteriorated once Cody Rhodes left to return to WWE last year, as Marshall serves as the head trainer for Cody's Nightmare Factory. Taking to Twitter yesterday, Cody responded to QT's post announcing his departure from the company, praising him for his work in AEW. He said, you can see the tweets in question on the screen right here, "Did the work, was essential in making so many memories for fans, and has been so instrumental in helping countless wrestlers. A pro's pro, we almost became friends. I can't wait to see what you do next. An OG, an outstanding Num 2 through his tenure. Congratulations, QT, on the run so far." Now, as far as what the future holds for QT Marshall, we don't know. It was said that he would like to go to WWE, but more as a talent as opposed to a trainer. However, some do feel he'd have to be a trainer or a coach at the PC if indeed he wanted to go to WWE. Now, we also have the ratings for SmackDown on Friday. Now, it must be stressed, SmackDown was on FS1, so the ratings won't compare as to when they're usually on Fox. But Friday was the last SmackDown before Survivor Series, where Hell froze over and CM Punk returned to WWE. The program, which was preempted on its usual slot on Fox and broadcast on FS1, led to a significant hit in terms of the show's viewership. WrestleNomics is reporting that SmackDown was viewed by 789,000 overall viewers on Friday, which is a 64% drop from last week's show on Fox, but interestingly too, a 31% drop from the last time SmackDown was on FS1. The show was viewed by 320,000 viewers in the 18 to 49 demographic, representing a 61% drop from last week as well. The highest rated segment in both demographics was the main event tag team match between Damage Control and Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, while the lowest rated segment in both demographics was the beginning of the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship defense by the Judgment Day, who bested the Street Profits on Friday. SmackDown also featured a tag match which saw LA Knight and Kevin Owens, returning from suspension, defeat Grayson Waller and Austin Theory after the two men wreaked havoc on the Grayson Waller effect. As it stands, Knight and Owens teaming up was the most viewed YouTube highlight from the show. Dragon Lee's backstage introduction, where he volunteered to take the place of an injured Carlito to take on Santos Escobar, was the least viewed YouTube highlight. Carlito was injured by Escobar, his Survivor Series opponent, who found himself in a match against Dragon Lee instead at the Premium Live event, of course, which Escobar won with a clean pinfall. Now, NXT was last night on USA Network. We have a #1 contender for the NXT North American Championship. Wes Lee has secured himself another opportunity at the NXT North American title. During Tuesday night's episode of NXT, Lee vied for a shot at the NXT North American Championship. However, to receive that opportunity, Lee would have to overcome 3 former NXT North American champions, and now, I guess, 3 main roster stars, that being Johnny Gargano, Cameron Grimes, and Big Bronson Reed, in a main event fatal 4-way match. Towards the conclusion of the contest, Bronson Reed began his ascent to the top rope, preparing to deliver his tsunami. His Raw rival, though, Ivar, had plans to deter that, though, as he made a surprise appearance which resulted in the two brawling into the backstage area. With Reed now out of the equation, Lee pivoted his focus to Grimes and Gargano, sending them crashing into one another. After Grimes and Gargano then traded kicks, Grimes hit Gargano with a cave-in. Before Grimes had the chance to reach a potential pinfall, Lee laid him out with a cardiac kick to gain the victory for himself. Upon his victory, Lee will now move on to challenge Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship on December 9 at NXT Deadline. Lee previously wrestled Mysterio for the title twice in July, including the July 18 episode of NXT, where Mysterio defeated Lee to begin his first reign with the championship. Now, speaking of NXT Deadline, it's going to feature the Iron Survivor Challenge matches, and we got 2 more participants for the men's and women's matches. The road to NXT Deadline is nearing its end now, for both Iron Survivor Challenge matches have gained a competitor. On last night's NXT, Kalani Jordan and Bron Breakker both qualified for the women and men's Iron Survivor Challenges respectively. Jordan defeated Kiana James after taking advantage of James being distracted by Roxanne Perez. Breakker defeated Eddie Thorpe in a hard-hitting match to advance. Both wrestlers will be making their Iron Survivor Challenge debuts. As it stands, Dijak, Trick Williams, and Josh Briggs have qualified for the men's match, with 1 spot left now that Breakker has qualified. Tiffany Stratton, Lash Legend, and Blair Davenport have qualified for the women's match, which now also has 1 spot remaining now that Jordan is in the match. The Iron Survivor Challenge is a 25-minute match that sees competitors enter every 5 minutes, with the wrestler with the most pinfalls or submissions at the end of the time limit being declared the winner. Last year's men's and women's matches were won by Grayson Waller and Roxanne Perez. Now, as I mentioned, there is one spot in each match left to qualify for. There is a last chance for WWE superstars to qualify for the Iron Survivor Challenge after there has been several weeks of Iron Survivor Challenge qualifying matches to create a field of 4 winners, with an announcement last night about the 5th. In a backstage segment, Ava informed the women's locker room that Shawn Michaels revealed to her there would be a last chance opportunity for those who didn't qualify to get into the match. Following that note, the men's last chance 4-way is set to feature Tyler Bate, Joe Coffey, Carmelo Hayes, and Eddie Thorpe. The women's match will feature Fallon Henley, Thea Hale, Roxanne Perez, and Kiana James. So that match is going to be taking place, I guess, next week. Now, the NXT Tag Team titles were successfully defended last night on NXT. Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo took on Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo for the NXT Tag Team Championships to open the show. After pausing to tell Stacks, "I love you, you're my brother," the Don of NXT, D'Angelo, pitched his tag team partner over the top rope to neutralize any threat of interference before going for the pin. Tony D'Angelo picked up the pinfall victory on behalf of the family to retain the NXT Tag Team titles. Now, it must be stated, there have been rumors about both Carrillo and Garza being called up to the main roster as part of a program with Santos Escobar. However, as of right now, there hasn't been any confirmation on that. We'll have to wait and see if indeed that is the plan or the case. Now, we've got a bit of an update on Ronda Rousey's pro wrestling future, or really a lack thereof it. 2 months after her potentially final WWE match at SummerSlam, Ronda Rousey shocked the wrestling world by making a surprise return to the ring at the Lucha Vavoom event on October 26, where she teamed with longtime friend Marina Shafir. Less than a month later, Rousey teamed with Shafir once again on the November 17 taped episode of Ring of Honor on Honor Club, prompting many to question what her future might be like under promoter Tony Khan. However, a recent report from PW Insider indicates that sources close to Rousey say there are no current long-term talks with Ring of Honor, AEW, or indeed any pro wrestling promotion. Per the report, Rousey is said to be focusing on her family going forward, while also promoting her new memoir, Our Fight, which is slated to be released in April 2024. Rousey isn't putting wrestling at the top of her list of priorities, and her recent appearances were just an opportunity to work with Shafir, who is signed to AEW. During the post-show press conference for AEW Full Gear, Tony Khan confirmed that Rousey had not signed, and her appearance was the result of AEW being close to Rousey's home in the Los Angeles area, and because of a previous match that saw Rousey and Shafir team up against Ring of Honor Women's Champion Athena and Billie Starkz at a Wrestling Revolver show, also in Los Angeles. PW Insider's report appears to support Khan's claims that might put to bed any lingering questions about Rousey rejoining the wrestling landscape in the near future, as it appears she's only really put on her ring gear again just because Shafir happened to be in LA. So don't expect any more Ronda Rousey matches anytime soon. Now, going back to NXT last night, Joe Gacy returned with a strange new gimmick. WWE star Joe Gacy returned on last night's NXT with a new gimmick as he made an appearance in front of the crowd. After weeks of odd recorded video promos, one aired last night in which Gacy was clearly underneath the NXT ring as there was plenty of action going on above. Noting that he felt the people were treating him as though he were beneath them, he tried out actually being beneath them. Entrances and a match proceeded between Ariana Grace and Carmen Petrovic. When Joe Gacy emerged from beneath the ring, for the first time he's appeared live in front of a crowd for actually a couple of months. Grabbing the timekeeper's ring bell, he ran away and wasn't to be seen again until after the match was over. When Ariana Grace was able to pick up the victory, the referee called for the 3 count, however without a bell. Instead, ring announcer Alicia Taylor went ahead with calling the match in Grace's favour. It was then the bell began to ring multiple times as Joe Gacy had emerged back through the crowd, was standing in the audience with the ring bell, and Hammer was just ringing it, smiling. After the match on Twitter, Gacy reposted images of himself running with a bell and the message, "Twitter, yes, Twitter, you're mostly only proving me right," at NXT. So where do you think this one is going? Are you interested in this new gimmick? Let me know your thoughts about Joe Gacy. Andre Chase. Now, there's been this story that Andre Chase is under investigation, and finally last night he came clean, or at least opened up about these accusations. Now, in the ongoing storyline on NXT of Andre Chase and the scandal rocking Chase University, there was finally a public comment from the head of the school on last night's show. Thanking investigators for their cooperation and professionalism, Andre Chase also thanked his Chase U family for continuing with operations during the time of confusion. Chase stated that he was limited in what he could share, but that Chase U had incurred debts. He revealed that suspicious and illegal activity that included gambling, misuse of university funds, had resulted in debt to the university. Noting that the amount owed was not important, but it was not insignificant, Andre Chase took responsibility for the debt and stated that, quote, "My irresponsibility caused this." Throughout the segment, Duke Hudson, JC Jane, and Thea Hale stood beside Andre Chase, each with an interesting set of emotions written on their faces. Perhaps suggesting there is more to the story than meets the eye, Andre Chase noted that the investigation remains ongoing and took several questions. When asked if he knew who had leaked the information regarding the gambling, he declined knowing. So where do you think this one is going? Are you interested in this? And let me know your thoughts about it. Certainly, it's a unique storyline for WWE NXT. Finally, Nikita Lyons returned to NXT last night after being out of action for over 10 months. After suffering an injury back in January requiring rehab and surgery, Nikita Lyons is back on NXT television. While Lyons had continued to impress followers across her social media accounts in her absence, she appears to be preparing for an in-ring return soon. A video of her working out and kicking a heavy bag from her Instagram account was played before Lyons was shown in the NXT crowd last night, ahead of the Iron Survivor Challenge qualifying matches for the women. In the match, Kiana James took on Kalani Jordan in an evenly matched bout that ended up being interrupted by not only Lyons, but someone else entirely. Roxanne Perez appeared at ringside, ringing the bell to signify the end of the match, which confused Kiana James long enough that Jordan could strike. After distraction, Jordan was able to pick up the victory and qualify to be included in the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge at NXT Deadline. So we'll wait and see if there's more information on Nikita Lyons' return to the ring. But there you go, guys. This latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.